Well, hey everybody, and welcome to this midweek review. This is Mr. John, and have I got a story that it is going to blow your mind because it is blowing my mind still. This past Saturday, I was out doing some yard work. You know, it's getting that time of the year when leaves are falling from the trees and the leaves have to be picked up and kind of taken care of. And that's what I was out doing. So I'm raking leaves. I get them piled up. They were a little wet and because we had rain the night before, but that was okay. I get them all bagged up. I put them in the bag and I throw them in the bin, and I'm sitting there and I go inside. I get cleaned up. I get something to eat, and I'm kind of chilling out, relaxing, watching a little college football when all of a sudden I realized, boom, my wedding ring was gone. It's not on my finger, and it's always on my finger, right? So I'm kind of freaking out. I go and I tell my wife, honey, I got a little bad news. Lost my ring. I don't know where it went. Needless to say, she wasn't all that happy with me and kind of wondered how my ring came off. And I said, well, I was doing all this yard work and I don't know. So we hunted around in the yard all over. I was actually taking a rake. I was re-raking the entire yard without the leaves there, seeing if I could just get the ring to pop up, and nothing. I searched for a long time and I finally got to a point. The ring is gone. We just are not going to find it. So Sunday, we take off, we go to church, and on the way to church, it's about a 15-20 minute drive for us. We are sitting there. My wife goes, did you think of even checking the trash bags? And I'm like, honey, you ain't gonna find them in them bags. Oh my goodness, they're just, leaves and stuff. And just the ring's gone. We'll just have to figure out what we're gonna do. She goes, well, we'll check them anyway. You know how wives are sometimes, they're the logical thinkers. And she's like, we'll just check them anyway. So we do church and we come home and we park the car outside the garage, and we shut our garage door, shut all the doors. And so it's just a bare floor. I go get the leaves and we dump them out onto the garage floor. And my wife starts pulling little piles and searching through that, and then pulls another little pile, and I was just kind of in the way. So I decided to take the rake again and go out, and I'm raking and I'm working hard. For 5 minutes, I'm just furiously working and trying to see if I can get the ring to just pop in the air and find it. And I say I worked hard for 5 minutes because in those 5 minutes, after 5 minutes was done, I hear a squeal from the garage. I found it! I found your ring! Unbelievable. It was a mighty mini miracle to me. I thought the ring was gone. I was convinced it was gone. And my wife, she had the hope that we would find it. She wasn't going to give up on finding it, and here it is, my ring. I'm going to put it back on my finger because that's where it belongs. And that kind of reminds me of how God is behind the scenes in the Bible. Of all our stories that we read, he is behind it. But he's in behind the scenes, especially in a story I love. It's about a woman named Esther. Esther grew up a Jewish girl into this beautiful woman, and she was raised by a man named Mordecai. Mordecai was Esther's uncle, and he really took care of Esther and raised her and just taught her her roots, and just was a good man to her, taking care of her. But he gave her one bit of advice. He goes, listen, we live with a king named Xerxes. He's a Persian king, and they don't look too highly on the Jews. So I wouldn't go around proclaiming your Jewish roots to anybody because it can get you in trouble and it may even get you killed. So Esther keeps this stuff quiet. Well, King Xerxes, he's living up in the castle, and he has a queen named Queen Vashti. And Queen Vashti was a beautiful queen, and King Xerxes asks her to do something for him. And she kind of goes, nah, I don't want to do that. Which truly upset King Xerxes. So King Xerxes says, listen, you don't want to obey me? I'm going to banish you. So he kicks out Queen Vashti, no longer being queen, she's just Vashti now, wherever she goes, and he sends her off, leaving King Xerxes without a wife. And I think King Xerxes liked the idea of marriage, or it was kind of one of those things that back then, for leaders to kind of keep their kingdoms going, they had wives or a wife, and they were to have kids so that they could keep that kingdom going. So he needs a wife. The requirements to be King Xerxes' wife was not how smart they were, who they were. What King Xerxes was looking for was beauty. He wanted to find the most beautiful gal in the land. And so he goes on a search. It's kind of like Cinderella and the slipper, right? He's looking all over for the most beautiful girl. Oh, you're beautiful, but you're beautiful, but oh, and he goes around. And then comes Esther. Esther walks into the room with King Xerxes, and they show Esther to him, and immediately he's smitten like a kitten. He is like, whoa. She's the one for me. He takes a crown and he puts it on her head, making her Queen Esther, Xerxes' queen. Now, I say that. Now, remember, she was a Jewish woman, and now she is queen of a Persian empire. We're going to hear a lot more about how her becoming queen shows us just how God was behind the scenes in all this. From Vashti denying something that King Xerxes wanted, to her just being so beautiful, and just Xerxes seeing her as this. Basically, he saw her as a jewel, as a beautiful jewel in the moment. But I think he really starts to become trusting of who Esther is. And we're going to hear more about that as the month goes on, because Esther is one of the great stories in the Bible. So guys, hey, new verse for this month. I hope you're going to pay attention to it. I hope you're going to learn it. I hope you're going to study it. Stay with us next week as we continue our story with Esther. And I hope you just have a wonderful and thankful November that was coming up. We're going to have a wonderful time talking about Queen Esther. So hang with us next week. Bye. For it is God who works in you to will and to act in order to fulfill his good purpose. Philippians 2:13.